Welcome back to U.S. Farm Report this weekend for the second half of our marketing discussion. Talked about a lot in the first roundtable. All right, Pat, with the recent hurricanes, our heart goes out to all of the producers that were impacted in the Southeast from that. But as we look at the chances of seeing ad hoc disaster aid get passed, do you think that delays our chance of seeing a farm bill this year?
I think it's tough to get a farm bill done during the lame duck session of Congress after the election. However, it might offer the opportunity to provide some emergency assistance to producers for the next year or so. So we'll see how that plays out during the lame duck session.
Alejandro, when you look at the net farm income picture, I know RAF had just put out a report looking at declining net farm income, even though we've seen cattle prices, where they're set today, and some better news on the dairy front. Row crop, we're still facing a not a pretty picture here in Missouri. Do you expect this declining net farm income to continue in 2025?
Yes, unfortunately, we're projecting another 21% decline in net farm income going into 2025 because of lower commodity prices, and it will become, more challenging for farmers to actually cash flow their operations, mostly on the row crop side of things. But we have interest rates going down that could favor, extending the working capital over 2025, 2026. And there are a number of variables that could help mitigate those lower net farm incomes, but it will be challenging.
What are some of those that could mitigate the lower projections?
So, depending on the international scenario, we expect to have stable demand for beef, for livestock in general, with a good profitability in cattle. For crop, on the crop side, not so much, unfortunately, and again, it will be a matter of going through the downturn and surviving this downturn with injections of cash flows and injections of liquidity from lower cost lending.
Ben, what could change some of those price projections that FAPRI has right now? I mean, we saw some drought in South America. That gave some life to some prices. We are seeing some demand on some fronts, including those big buys from Mexico this week. So what could change that scenario that we could actually see better prices than some economists are expecting next year?
Sure. So we saw $1 rise in soybean prices during the month of September, almost $1. It took three major factors to get that rally, right? It took increased stimulus in the Chinese market, hopefully spurring more protein demand that then would use feed grain and oil seeds. It took dryness in South America, and it took really the fund managers covering a record net short position in the markets to get back to a more neutral territory. My position, or my thoughts here as to how we get to some higher prices, it's going to have to take a combination of some big factors like that to get prices to rally, because we have so much supply. Our global soybean balance sheet has the highest stocks-to-use ratio we've seen in decades. There is lots of soybeans in the world market. Unfortunately, it looks like South America is going to have a big crop as well. I say unfortunately. We never wish drought on anybody, but
we wish drought on South America, Ben. We'll just say it.
It looks like they're going to have a large crop, right? And then we look here in the United States, crop margins are not good. And that potentially could come, in the acreage picture. It's hard to take land out of production, so it's the crop mix that then we're talking about, and where those acres go is going to be a big factor in terms of crop prices.
Pat, even if prices stay where they are today, 2025 could be a challenge for a lot of producers that are watching the show this weekend. What is your advice to possibly weathering this downturn in this storm?
So a lot of it's the type of advice you give all the time. Try to do what you can, try to control your costs as best you can. Make sure you have a marketing plan that makes sense, that you're not trying to throw all your eggs into one basket, and trying to be realistic about the situation. You may not be able to hit a home run this year, so the singles and doubles may be the best you can hope for.
All right. Well, that does it for our discussion here at Mizzou. We need to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with much more right here on U.S. Farm Report.